Sure, so my name's Simon Barlow. I'm design director at Evolution Studios, and I'm responsible for the user experience of Drive Club. Okay, so user experience is essentially it's the bit of the game that sits between the game itself and the player. It's that intangible emotional connection you have with the game. Usually manifests itself, I guess, in the user interface. That's the most obvious way people see it. But it's the kind of the sticky design glue that holds everything together that it's really, really hard to get right.
My name is Marcus Smith. I'm creative director at Insomniac Games. I'm the guy who comes up with terrible ideas that nobody wants to do.
We have two directors on Sunset Overdrive. Drew Murray is the games director and I'm the creative director. We really are the ones that sort of come up with the box. What's the idea that we're trying to make?
And then the rest of the team just fills that in. And then the main thing is just figuring out what is and isn't going to work for that game.
So my name's Benjamin Penrose and I'm the art director for Playground Games. My role is really to inspire and inform the whole of the art team as well as I can on what it is we want to produce in terms of the visual of our game. And then at the same time try and communicate that as succinctly as possible to the rest of the studio, so the design guys and the engineering team. So everybody's on the same page.
I'm Jason Sussman. I'm a senior environment artist on Destiny, and I was the destination owner for Mars. At a core, as an environment artist, your job is to interface with a multitude of different disciplines within the studio, because you have 3D, they have the players and the vehicles are in there, you have design, the AI and pathing is in there, you have audio, for all the different audio cues, you have skybox artists, there's just the list goes on and on and on. It's a neat place to be because you get to talk to all these different disciplines and work, and collaborate with them very, very closely, and story as well. There's a lot of fiction to put inside the spaces. So there's that, and then as a senior environment artist, and at Bungie that's more of a leadership type of role, you're tasked with coming up from the high level concept all the way to finishing and closing things out.
Most people assume that designers just spend all day playing video games. I wish that was the case. I think mostly it's a lot of running around, sitting at people's desks, going through latest hands-on code and trying to, I guess, guide people. My job really is there to steer development. I do some hands-on stuff. I spent most of last year programming, which was fun. It was a nice break. But mostly, yeah, it's about kind of steering and just nudging it back on course and trying to deliver on the game director's vision for the game and trying to recreate that with the team. Certainly the role of designer has changed quite dramatically. Traditional designers would have been, I guess, paper design, pure design if you like, where you design a mechanical, you design a system on paper and then that would be kind of farmed out to the code team to implement. Designers nowadays are very much hands-on and you're expected to be able to do a bit of programming and do a bit of art in order to kind of, I guess, help get across your vision, get across that design idea, because design's really hard to articulate sometimes.
I think the biggest misconception that came from my father for many, many, many years, all the way up to when I was working at Bungie, he just thought I went to work and played games. He's like, that's my son, he just plays video games all day. That's how you make them, you just play them. And I think that that is the most common misconception. My dad finally he gets it now. Like, he understands what I do. But for the longest time, I've heard that from multiple people. Yeah. When I first started making games, I did everything from the UI to the environment to particle effects in one game, right? I was doing you were multifaceted, and then I think that now you're becoming much more specialized. But that specialty is becoming much deeper and richer in content.
People often think that I get to do lots of artwork, which is really not true. You don't train to be an art director traditionally. You train to be a UI artist or a modeler, an environment artist, a concept guy. So you kind of have to work up to a point where you understand that while you're on the job and you're involved in the studio. And I think it really depends on the studio's requirements.
I think maybe people think that it's easy, perhaps. That would probably be the big one. I think a lot of people may think that creative direction is somehow cushy, even though it means a lot. We're never off. It's time-consuming and laborious and tedious and all of those things. It's not as exciting as everybody thinks it is. I think that originally creative directors, I've been in the games industry long enough when there were very, very small teams, almost like casual games today, where a creative director probably also did programming or art or other things. You have to wear a lot of hats on small teams. I think now I'm creative director. Well, hello. I'm a creative director, and I deal with an art director and an audio director, and we have these very, very large teams. I look at credits of games like GTA 5, and I don't know how those games are made. Like that boggles my mind. I don't understand how people manage that many people. I think that there's something lost when it gets too big. I think there's danger of losing some personal touch.